I stared at my mother across our kitchen table, the morning sunlight streaming through the windows, making the situation feel surreally bright. The words she'd just spoken hung in the air like suspended dust particles. You did what? My voice was barely above a whisper. Michael, try to understand. Mom fidgeted with her coffee cup, avoiding my eyes. Your brother Thomas's wedding is in 3 weeks. The venue doubled their price, and with the guest list growing, so you took my college fund. I kept my tone level, though my hands were shaking under the table. The money I've been saving since I was 12. You can take student loans, Dad chimed in from behind his newspaper. Everyone does these days. Thomas needs this wedding to impress his fiancée's family. They're very well connected. Of course, Thomas needed something, so naturally my future had to be sacrificed. At 22, I'd worked every summer since middle school, saving every penny in that account. My parents had matched my contributions, promising it was untouchable until college. How much? I asked. What? How much did you take? Mom's face flushed. All of it. The wedding venue alone is costing $600,000, and with the catering, flowers, and entertainment, $87,000, I said quietly. That's what was in that account. You'll understand when you're older. Dad lowered his paper. Family comes first. Thomas marrying into the Sullivan family could open doors for all of us. I stood up slowly, my chair scraping against the tile floor. I need to go to the bank. Don't be dramatic. Mom reached for my hand. We'll help you fill out loan applications. With your grades you'll easily. I'm not being dramatic. I interrupted. I just need to check something. The drive to the bank was a blur. My mind raced with calculations, possibilities, and a plan I'd been keeping secret for the past year. A plan that now seemed like divine intervention. At the bank, I approached the teller with a calm I didn't feel. I need to speak with Mr. Patterson. Please, it's regarding my accounts. The elderly banker had handled my family's finances for decades. When I was shown into his office, his expression was already sympathetic. Michael, I was going to call you. About the withdrawal, did they empty all my accounts? I asked. He blinked. No, just the college fund. Your parents had joint access to that one. But your personal account is separate. They can't. Can you pull up my current balance? He typed briefly, then turned the monitor so I could see. I let out a breath I hadn't realized I'd been holding. And the investment account. More typing. Another screen. My shoulders relaxed slightly. Thank you, Mr. Patterson. I need to make some transfers. An hour later, I walked out of the bank with a new set of account numbers and a clear plan. My phone had 17 missed calls. 15 from Mom, 2 from Thomas. I turned it off. Back at home, Mom was waiting in the driveway. Where have you been? We've been trying to reach you. The wedding planner needs an answer about the ice sculpture, and Thomas wants you to. The college fund. I cut her off. When exactly did you empty it? Last Thursday. Michael, are you listening? The wedding, and when were you planning to tell me? She had the grace to look uncomfortable. After everything was settled. We didn't want you to worry. You didn't want me to stop you. I corrected. Did you even read the account documents? The ones Grandpa set up? Her face went blank. What do you mean? I pulled an envelope from my jacket. This is from Mr. Patterson. He'll be calling you and Dad later today. That college fund. It was a conditional trust. Taking money out for anything other than education triggers a clause. What clause? Her voice had gone up an octave. The money has to be repaid within 7 days, or the main family trust gets frozen. All of it, including the trust that's paying for Thomas's wedding. The color drained from her face. But that's not possible. Your father checked. Dad checked the surface documents. He didn't know about Grandpa's addendum. The one that specifically protected that money for education. We don't have $87,000. She practically shrieked. Everything's tied up in the wedding deposits. I shouldered past her, heading for my room. You have 6 days to figure it out. Oh, and Mom, I quit. Quit what? Being best man. Being part of this circus. All of it. Would you like me to continue with the mounting family tension and reveal what Michael's secret plan entails? The next 48 hours were chaos. Dad tried threatening me with disinheritance. Thomas alternated between rage and desperate negotiations. Mom cycled through tears. guilt trips, and finally attempted bribery. I ignored them all, working from my room on my laptop, making final arrangements for what came next. You're being selfish. Thomas barged in without knocking. Do you know what this wedding means for my future? I looked up calmly. Do you know what that money meant for mine? It's just college. You can get loans, work part-time. I did. No, you didn't, I replied, returning to my typing. You dropped out after 2 semesters because it was too restrictive for your entrepreneurial spirit. Then you lived off mom and dad while starting and failing 3 businesses. His face reddened. That's not fair. I was finding myself, and now you found yourself a rich fiancé, whose family you're trying to impress with money you stole from my future. Get out of my room. The Sullivans are expecting. Get out. After he left, I checked my email. The confirmation I'd been waiting for had arrived. I allowed myself a small smile. My phone buzzed. A text from Mr. Patterson. Your parents just left my office. They're not happy. Did you explain everything? Yes. They have 4 days left to return the funds, or the main trust freezes. Your father threatened legal action. Let him try. Grandpa's paperwork was airtight, wasn't it? Absolutely. He knew exactly what he was doing when he set this up. I thought about my grandfather, who'd passed away 2 years ago. He'd always seen through the family dynamics, understood how Thomas was favored and coddled while I was expected to be the responsible one. A knock at my door. Softer this time. Mom. Michael, please can we talk? I opened the door but didn't invite her in. She looked exhausted, her usually perfect makeup slightly smudged. The Sullivans are coming for dinner tonight, she said, to discuss the wedding. Please join us. Help us explain. No, Michael, you don't understand what's at stake. Thomas could lose everything, like I lost my college fund. She flinched. We'll find a way to pay you back. After the wedding, 4 days, Mom. Return the money in 4 days, or the main trust freezes. Those are the terms. But where are we supposed to get that kind of money so quickly? Sell something. Cancel the ice sculpture. Have a reasonable wedding instead of a circus. I don't care how you do it, but those are the terms. She started crying again. I closed the door. My laptop pinged with another email. Confirmation of my apartment lease in Boston. I'd been planning this move for months, saving separately, applying for jobs in secret. The college fund was supposed to be for my master's degree, but I'd managed to secure a scholarship instead. My phone buzzed again. Thomas's fiancée, Catherine Sullivan. This is all your fault. Do you know how embarrassing this is? I blocked her number. The next morning, I woke to shouting downstairs. Dad was on the phone with his lawyer. Mom was arguing with the wedding planner, and Thomas was having a meltdown about the Sullivans, threatening to call off the wedding. I packed my car quietly, efficiently. Everything I truly needed fit in 3 boxes and 2 suitcases. The rest could stay. Mr. Patterson called as I was loading the last box. They're trying to access their other accounts to cover the withdrawal, but with the wedding expenses, they're overextended. Severely. Your brother's spending has been excessive. I wasn't surprised. Thomas had never understood the value of money, only the power of spending it. Michael, Dad's voice boomed from the front door. Get in here now. I closed my trunk. I have to go, Mr. Patterson. Thank you for everything. Inside, the family was assembled like a tribunal. Dad at his desk, Mom perched nervously on the sofa, Thomas pacing like a caged animal. Fix this, Dad demanded. Call the bank. Tell them you approve the withdrawal. I can't do that. Can't or won't. Both. The terms are clear. Educational use only. You took it for a wedding. Return it or face the consequences. Thomas stopped pacing. You're enjoying this, aren't you? Finally getting revenge for all the times they favored me. This isn't about revenge, I said quietly. It's about consequences. Something this family never taught you about. We have given you everything. Dad slammed his hand on the desk. A good home. Opportunities. No, I cut him off. You gave Thomas everything. I worked for what I had. And now you've taken that too. Where are you going? Mom had noticed my car keys in my hand. Away. I have a job waiting in Boston. An apartment too. You can't leave. Thomas looked panicked. The Sullivans are expecting the whole family to. I'm done with expectations, I interrupted. Done with this family's toxic patterns. Return my money or lose the trust funds. Those are the only options you have left. I walked out, ignoring their shouts and protests. As I started my car, I saw Mom running down the driveway. Please, she begged through my window. We're your family. Family doesn't steal from family, Mom. You taught me that, remember? When I was 6 and took money from Thomas's piggy bank. Funny how those rules only apply to me. I drove away, watching her shrinking figure in my rearview mirror. 3 days later, Mr. Patterson called. They couldn't do it, he said. They tried to get loans, but with all the wedding expenses already charged. So what happens now? The trust freezes tomorrow at midnight. All accounts, all access, everything. Your brother's wedding funds, your parents' discretionary accounts, all of it. I was already settled in my new apartment, starting my new job next week. Have they realized yet? I asked. About your separate accounts? No, they still think you're dependent on them. Should I tell them? No, let them figure it out. That evening, my phone exploded with messages. The family had finally discovered that I'd been preparing for this possibility, that I had my own resources, my own plans. Thomas, you planned this. You knew they'd take the money. Mom, please come home. We can fix this together. Dad, you've destroyed this family's reputation. I sent one group text in response. No, I didn't plan for you to steal my money. I planned for my future, because I knew you'd never put it first. The reputation you're worried about. You destroyed that yourselves. Don't contact me again, unless it's to return what you took. Then I blocked their numbers. 6 months passed in Boston. Autumn turned to winter, and with the changing seasons came snippets of news from home, filtered through Mr. Patterson's occasional updates. Thomas's grand wedding had devolved into a courthouse ceremony, followed by a modest reception at a local restaurant. The Sullivans, upon learning of the financial deception, had nearly called everything off. Catherine had stuck around, though Mr. Patterson hinted their marriage was already showing strain. Your parents had to sell their vacation home, he informed me during one of our monthly calls. The frozen trust accounts forced them to reevaluate their lifestyle. I was settling into my new life, excelling at my job at a tech startup, where merit mattered more than family connections. My small apartment felt more like home than the mansion ever had. Then came the letter. It arrived on a snowy Tuesday, hand-delivered by courier. I recognized my grandfather's law firm's letterhead immediately. Dear Mr. Michael Andrews, in accordance with the final provisions of your grandfather's estate, we are required to inform you that the Education Trust Violation Clause has triggered a secondary stipulation. As the wronged party, you are now granted controlling interest in the family's main business holdings. I sat down hard, reading the letter 3 times to ensure I understood. My grandfather, in his infinite wisdom, hadn't just protected my education fund. He'd set up a failsafe to protect the entire family legacy from mismanagement. My phone rang. Mr. Patterson, I assume you've received the letter. Did you know about this? Your grandfather made me promise not to reveal it unless the clause was triggered. He wanted to give them a chance to do the right thing on their own. I looked out my window at the Boston skyline. What exactly does this mean? It means you now control 51% of Andrews Industries. Your father may be CEO, but you have controlling interest. All major decisions, expenditures and company directions need your approval. The irony wasn't lost on me. The family that had dismissed me as the boring son, the one who didn't understand business, had just lost control of their company to me. They don't know yet, Mr. Patterson continued. The lawyers are informing your father tomorrow morning. I thought about my father's face when he realized his youngest son, the one he'd discounted, now controlled his life's work. Will you come back? Mr. Patterson asked. The company could use your financial acumen. No, I said after a moment. Not yet. Let's see how they handle this first. The next few days brought a barrage of calls from numbers I didn't recognize. Family friends, business associates, distant relatives. I maintained my silence. A week later, an email from Catherine, Thomas's wife, your brother is drinking heavily. Your parents are barely speaking to each other. Is this what you wanted? To destroy everyone? I replied simply, they destroyed themselves. I just stopped enabling it. Then came the official letter from my father's lawyers, requesting a meeting to discuss the future of Andrews Industries. I agreed to a video conference, unwilling to return home just yet. The meeting was tense. My father looked aged, defeated. The family lawyer presented various proposals to resolve the situation, all of which involved me signing away my controlling interest. No, I said firmly. The company stays under my control. You know nothing about running a business. My father exploded. I know enough not to steal from my children's future. I replied calmly. I know enough about finance to see that Andrews Industries has been mismanaged for years, serving as a personal piggy bank rather than a proper business. How dare you? The company's getting an audit, I interrupted. A real one. Every account, every decision, every expenditure. If I find anything irregular, I'll have no choice but to report it. The lawyer paled. My father's face went red. You would destroy your own family's legacy. No, Dad, I'm saving it from you. After the meeting, Mom called from a new number. Your father's not well, she said softly. This stress, this shame, the shame of being caught, or the shame of what you did. She was quiet for a moment. Both maybe. We lost ourselves somewhere along the way. Trying to give Thomas everything, we forgot to be fair to you. And now, she sighed. Now I'm watching everything fall apart, and I can't even blame you for it. We did this, all of it. It was the first real acknowledgement of responsibility I'd heard from any of them. The audit starts next week, I told her. The company will survive, but changes need to be made. Will you ever forgive us? I looked at the framed photo on my desk. My grandfather and me at my high school graduation. His proud smile, saying everything his words didn't need to. Forgiveness isn't the issue, Mom. Trust is. And trust has to be earned. The audit revealed what I'd suspected. Years of financial mismanagement, personal expenses charged to company accounts, questionable decisions made to fund Thomas's failed ventures. Nothing illegal enough to warrant prosecution, but enough to justify a complete overhaul of company management. I hired a new CEO, established a proper board of directors, and set up stringent financial controls. My father was offered a position as a consultant. His experience was valuable, even if his judgment wasn't. Thomas, forced to finally stand on his own feet, found a job in sales. He wasn't brilliant at it, but he was learning the value of earning his own way. 1 year after the trust freeze, I returned home for the first time. The family mansion had been sold, replaced by a comfortable but modest house. Mom had started volunteering at a local youth center, teaching financial literacy of all things. Your grandfather would be proud, she said, as we sat in their new kitchen. Not just of the company changes, but of how you handled everything. He taught me that real strength isn't about power over others, I replied. It's about standing firm in what's right. Dad joined us, more subdued than I'd ever seen him. The new CEO says you've rejected 3 offers to buy the company. It's not for sale, even though you could make millions. Some things are worth more than money, Dad. Like legacy, real legacy, not the fake one we were living before. He nodded slowly. I'm starting to understand that now. 18 months after the trust freeze, I stood in my grandfather's study, now my office at Andrews Industries. The company had not just survived, but thrived under new management, with ethical practices and transparent operations replacing the old system of family favoritism. I picked up the photo of my grandfather that had always sat on his desk, remembering our last conversation before he passed. Sometimes, Michael, the kindest thing you can do for someone is to let them face the consequences of their actions. It's not punishment, it's education. He'd known somehow that this day would come. That's why he'd put those clauses in place, creating a path for redemption through accountability. A knock at the door. Thomas, your secretary said you were free, he said, hovering uncertainly in the doorway. Come in. He looked different, less polished, more real. The designer suits replaced by business casual, the arrogant swagger gone. Catherine's pregnant, he announced without preamble. We're having a girl. Congratulations. I've been thinking about legacy lately, he continued, sitting down. About what we teach our children through our actions. I don't want my daughter to grow up thinking money solves everything, or that rules don't apply to her. I studied my brother, seeing real change in his eyes. What are you saying, Thomas? I'm saying you were right, about everything. The way we lived, the way mom and dad enabled me, the way I treated money treated you. I want to do better, be better. He pulled out an envelope. It's not everything yet, but it's a start. I've been saving from my sales commissions. Inside was a check for $15,000. It's part of what we took from your college fund, he explained. Catherine and I are committed to paying back every penny, no matter how long it takes. I looked at the check, then at my brother. Keep it, start a college fund for your daughter instead. But the money was never the point, Thomas. It was about responsibility, about consequences, about growing up. You're doing that now. He blinked back tears, something I'd never seen him do before. I don't deserve your forgiveness. Maybe not, but you've earned my respect. That's worth more. Later that evening, at a family dinner, now held monthly in Mom's modest dining room, I watched the changes in all of us. Dad talking about his consulting work with genuine passion rather than arrogance. Mom sharing stories from her youth financial literacy program. Thomas and Catherine discussing their plans for their daughter's future with thoughtful consideration rather than grandiose promises. I found more of Dad's letters. Mom said quietly, as we cleaned up after dinner. He wrote one to you, meant to be delivered if the trust clause was ever triggered. She handed me an envelope, worn with age. Inside, my grandfather's familiar handwriting. Dear Michael, if you're reading this, then the worst has happened. They chose pride over principle, appearance over integrity. But you, my boy, chose wisdom. The company is yours now, not as a reward, but as a responsibility. Lead them back to what matters. Remember, true wealth isn't in bank accounts or trust funds. It's in the strength to stand firm, the wisdom to lead with compassion, and the courage to let others learn from their mistakes. You were always the right choice. Love, Grandpa. I folded the letter carefully, tucking it into my jacket pocket next to my heart. The family we were had died the day they took my college fund. But from those ashes, something better had grown, something real, honest and strong. Looking around at our smaller house, our humbler gatherings, our more authentic relationships, I realized we were finally truly living, and that was worth more than any trust fund. The end.